Good morning and welcome to Cover 2 Cook. We're on episode 83. Now, you haven't heard from us a little bit due to technical difficulties. We're finally back. We have episode 83 coming today. A lot of NFL news, obviously. A lot of reasons why we buy the new Madden game because everyone changes teams right at this time. So going into this, we were wondering who's going to be the big winners and who's going to be the big losers. We'll talk about that at the end. But before I get too far, let me bring on my co-host, Mr. Tim Cook. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We had a lot of moving and shaking going on and a lot of people moving. And there's more still people out there. So I'm interested to get into it.
I totally agree. Well, last weekend we had it was starting to build. You could feel it building. Christian Kirk gets traded to the Texans for a 7th rounder. DK Metcalf goes to the Steelers. Geno Smith goes to the Raiders, and Myles Garrett gets a contract extension, even though he doesn't want to play there anymore, supposedly. What did you think about last weekend?
Yeah, I think the biggest one was the Myles Garrett one. Yep. The owner didn't want to talk to him, didn't want to do anything. He didn't have nothing to do with him. And then he seen the contract and went, okay, I'll play for you. And it was all about this. It was all about this. And in the final, of it all, it was all about this. I know he came out and said that he wasn't planning on going from Cleveland to Canton, but yeah, he did. And I don't know what this owner is thinking as far as Haslam. Another full contract, not really a full contract, but majority of it is guaranteed. This is your second one. I think this will be better than the Deshaun Watson will. We hope.
Yeah, I mean, you get the hometown discount with this one kind of thing. It's a big hometown discount, but Myles Garrett's shown it, right? He's shown it at that atmosphere and that situation. The whole situation with the quarterback, Deshaun Watson was an ugly situation to start to finish. So that one just didn't make sense for them. I think the biggest one is DK Metcalf going to the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers have wanted a dominant wide receiver for a while now. And finally, they get this guy, DK, that is going to show that, now you need a quarterback. Now you need someone that's going to throw the ball to them. As time's gone on, we've seen that Mason Rudolph's back there, but they're saying that doesn't impact whether Rodgers, Russell is going to be going there. So, but DK going there, I mean, what are you doing? I mean, Seattle let go of Geno as well. What's happening there?
Yeah, well, and as we found out later that it ended up being Sam Darnold going to Seattle. Yes. So yeah, I don't know what. I think they're trying to get younger, and I think they were unloading contracts to get Darnold.
Yeah. Well, in the Christian Kirk, we finished our last podcast saying he's going to get released. Nope, 7th rounder. Absolute disrespect because he's not that bad of a wide receiver. But for a 7th rounder, wow. So you felt it building, right? You felt it building over the weekend, and then we get Big Monday. Big Monday with everything just opens wide open. What's the free agency opens right off the bat? Sam Darnold to the Seahawks. What do you think about that one?
I like it. I think they're going to be all right. I just don't know who he's going to throw to. Who's he throwing to? JSN. I mean, that is going to be your guy. He's going to, unless they're going to go through the draft and go after some people from the draft. Draft some players. I don't know who he's going to throw to. It sounds like to me they may lean on more of the run with the running backs. I'm throwing a blank out. Huh?
Kenneth Walker.
Yes, Walker and Charbonnet. Yeah. Maybe they're going to lean on more of that and less of getting, just like they did with them in Minnesota, dinking and doinking. You don't have to get the ball down the field. Just don't screw it up.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the biggest thing is he had such a great Minnesota season, but he had Justin Jefferson, he had Jordan Addison, he had T.J. Hockenson. You can't name one player on Jackson Smith-Njigba is Jordan Addison. That's it. He's not Justin Jefferson. He's not at that level. So, I mean, Sam Darnold, congrats on all the money. Great job. But when you come down to the end of this, that was maybe not the best decision for you to go. I would rather stay in Minnesota. I think you have a better chance there. As a Vikings fan, thank you for leaving. Because I think we need to move on and see what JJ's got.
I totally agree.
Also, on Monday, we had Justin Fields going to the Jets, Josh Sweat headed to Arizona, Devontae Adams to the Rams, and Hassan Reddick to the Bucks. Which one stuck out of those ones?
I think the Justin Fields one does because I think this is just a holdover. I really do. It's a 2-year, $40 million contract. And I think I think it's a player option on the second year. So really this is a 1-year contract, what it is. I think it's a holdover. I think what they're going to do is maybe draft a quarterback, but I see this being a 2-year deal. And they're going to see what he got. See what he's got. I mean, he can move out of the pocket for you and then get the ball to Wilson. I mean, they may also lean on the running as well.
Well, I think both of them, this works out for both parties. For Justin Jefferson or for Justin Fields, he deserves this. I think what he put on Pittsburgh's tape deserves to get a starting position. At the same time, he hooks back up with Garrett Wilson. Maybe he sparked that magic again that happened at Ohio State. I think the biggest one out of this one, Davante Adams to the Rams. And a funny part about that one is when we were recording the first time before all the technical difficulties, who's going to wear number 17, Puka or Davante? Puka says, nah, I'm not taking that jersey off my back. 12 hours later, he's wearing number 12. Davante Adams is the boss. Let's be real there. But when you're getting rid of Cooper Kupp and then going to get Davante, I mean, I know money is all involved in this, but that doesn't really make sense in my mind of that situation. And then obviously Josh Sweat going to Arizona. That's a hell of a pickup for Arizona.
Yeah.
One guy.
Yeah, they need defense. They've got the offense. They need defense.
And then also to that Monday, we had Charvarius Ward to the Colts. Bears signing Grady Garrett from Atlanta. Laramie Tunsil heads to the Commanders, and Milton Williams heads to the Patriots. Which one stuck out there?
I think I think the Bears.
Yeah.
Getting Grady Jarrett. The guy was getting released because he was making too much money from Atlanta, and Atlanta loved him there. Yep. They loved him. He was Atlanta's son, and then he got released that morning, and by that afternoon, he'd already signed with the Bears. Yep. Holy cow! I mean, that's crazy that happened. I think that was the biggest one. And I tell you what, the Bears, watch out, Bears fans. I think they're going to be tough this year.
I totally agree, and I think the Grady situation may not make all these moves on the field, right? Like he's getting older. He's a good pickup for maybe a year, right? Maybe 2 at most. But what he does is build a foundation in that defense. It's a locker room guy. We see Ben Johnson come from the Detroit, and everyone's saying, man, that organization and the way the players and all that, that's what Ben Johnson's trying to build in Chicago. And I swear the GM is doing it with him. I think the biggest one there is Laramie Tunsil going to Commanders. Commanders are like, hey, we were this close from going. Let's do it again. I only fear that they're just going to be the Houston Texans of the year before, where it looked like they should have been a Super Bowl caliber team, and then they just fall apart due to injuries. You never wish on injuries, but this one kind of does make me nervous.
Yeah, I totally agree. It looks like, with Washington going all in with Deebo Samuel and all that stuff. Yeah, it looks like Washington, and that's the deal, is that we seen that from Houston last year, and it didn't turn out as well as they liked to. So,
well, and that's what happens when a team in your division wins a Super Bowl too. We all step up. Also on Monday, Chris Godwin re-signs with the Bucks. Drew Dalman, center, goes to the Bears. And late Monday night, Najee Harris signed a 1-year deal to the Chargers. Which one stuck out there for you?
What's the charge? So they must be going to go with Jaylen Warren. And that's why we got rid of Najee. I mean, Najee this year was probably pretty strong. He probably had one of the stronger years with Pittsburgh for an offensive line that wasn't that good. So I don't understand what Pittsburgh's doing right now and there's other things we'll get into about what that organization is doing right now. I do not know what they're doing. Yeah. For an organization that's always buttoned up, I have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, I think it was, and that's the thing, Najee didn't want out. Like, Najee wanted to stay with Pittsburgh. So it's weird to see him move on when it must have been Pittsburgh saying, hey, thank you for all your effort, but we'll see you later. I will say it took a while for Najee to have a good year. I mean, let's remember, he's been in the NFL for a bit now. This should have happened when we drafted you, not later in your career. But I think the biggest one out of this one, obviously Drew Dalman to the Bears, and we're going to talk about the Bears later on, but Chris Godwin. So reportedly left up over $20 million on the table to stay at Tampa.
Wow.
Now remember, Liam Cohen gone.
Right.
So they got a new offensive coordinator coming in. That is a lot. I mean, I will tell you right now, moving out of a place sucks, but for me, I'll take $1 million to move out of a place. I'll take $500,000 to move out of a place right now, right? But when you look at it, him staying there, I think it makes total sense. You still got Mike Evans, you still got Baker Mayfield, you still got these guys that it makes sense to run it back again. I didn't think they had a bad team. They just unfortunately at the end didn't have it all.
I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, and now Baker. I mean, now I mean, maybe they're going to go with Jalen McMillan, that guy, and maybe that's why I didn't understand that. I mean, why? Yeah, because your career is so short anyway. Why wouldn't you take the money and run? Unless it was with a team that you knew that it's not going to go anywhere. Maybe like Jacksonville.
Supposedly it was the Patriots. So I could see that, but at the same time, I think Chris Godwin's, because you got to remember he's coming off an injury as well. So I wonder if it was a little bit of not knowing what the future of the Patriots is going to look like, but also at the same time, do I think Tampa Bay are they a couple of players away from making a Super Bowl run? No. I think they're more than
yeah.
So I didn't really understand that one, but at the same time, I bet Tampa Bay fans are just loving it because they have liked this guy. So, well, then on Tuesday we had a couple more signs, right? Not too big, and then Wednesday we had a little bit bigger. But on Tuesday, C.J. Gardner goes to the Texans on a trade, and Daniel Jones is going to be the competition to Anthony Richardson and the Colts. What do you think about those two?
Oh, I don't know. I would have thought they would have picked somebody a little bit better for Anthony Richardson to go to compete with Daniel Jones. And maybe Steichen, he's an offensive guy. Maybe he can see something in Daniel Jones, get him out of the pocket and roll and throw the ball down the field. Maybe he thinks, boy, I can mold this guy into something that, could be something down the road.
Yeah, I think Daniel Jones, honestly, as a Vikings fan, that's who I wanted back. I think he has the caliber to be better. I think when you play for the Giants, I don't think it's a win-win at all. Obviously, you see what happens when Saquon leaves and everything like that. But when Daniel Jones goes to the Colts, you're like, well, we forgot. Anthony Richardson tapped out. Yeah. I feel like they went youngish as a competitor. That was showing that they will, if Daniel Jones beats them out, they will go forward with him.
Yeah.
Where if they would have got like Russell Wilson to compete against, it's like a time limit. You know what I mean? It's not a full. C.J. Gardner, though, that's huge. Gets a Super Bowl, sends him off to the Texans. I did not understand. I mean, I get it. I get it, but I don't, if that makes sense for Philadelphia, because you do have to keep a resemblance of the team to win it again.
Right.
Like you don't have to keep the same team because understandably people want to sign after winning a Super Bowl. But a resemblance, that defense has got chew up and spit out after the Super Bowl. And maybe they think I can't think of the white boy, he's going to be able to compete now. But I felt like that was a huge trade to let out and go give it to a Texans team that needs defense desperately.
Yes, most definitely. Well, and maybe they think they can get more kids from the draft. They did pretty good in the draft last year, you know, like that, the Kobe Dean. They've got a lot of good players out of the draft, so maybe they think they can draft better and get a replacement for him.
Yeah. Oh, and maybe over time they can definitely replace him where right now they can rely on who they have. Later this week, we also had Joey Bosa to the Bills, Darius Slay Jr. to the Steelers, Evan Ingram to the Broncos. Which one stood out for you there?
You know what? And if he could stay healthy, he's a hell of a tight end, and he'd be a good check down for Bo Nix. But the big key is, can he stay healthy? He's been injury riddled past 2 or 3 years. He just can't stay healthy. So that's the biggest one. I could see him like, that was a great pickup, but can he stay on the field?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And honestly, it's one of these things where I've said this for a while now. I think the Broncos are just a good tight end away. And he is a good tight end. But is he a great tight end? Is he going to take them to what they need for the next level? If he can stay on the field, I definitely think it'll help. Darius Slay Jr., big plays, Slay. goes to Pittsburgh. When we just talked about what is Pittsburgh doing in this situation,
Yeah.
I actually think this is a good grab by Pittsburgh. I think it's a 1-year deal, or it's a small deal. It's not a huge long deal. And then Joey Bosa, not going to join his brother, going to go to Buffalo. Von Miller on one side, Joey Bosa on the other. If they both can stay healthy,
Yeah.
that is scary to see.
Yep.
I think AFC woke up after seeing the Chiefs get smacked in the face and say,
Right.
it's anyone's league.
Right.
But
Most definitely.
who's still out there, right? So we see all these moves, and you're thinking about, how do I make Madden now to the new guys? Or do I have to wait for the new Madden? Who's still out there? Stephon Diggs, coming off an ACL, is still out there. Amari Cooper is still out there. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are still out there. Cooper Kupp technically is still out there. And Keenan Allen. Which one is the biggest surprise he hasn't signed yet?
I don't know if he's a surprise or what is he doing? Does he want the drama or what? And that's Aaron Rodgers. What are you doing? Pittsburgh wants you. Sign with them. But I've heard through the grapevine that he's waiting for Minnesota to come in and give him an offer, because he wants to play for Minnesota so bad. So bad. But I don't think Minnesota's going to do it, because they want to see what J.J. McCarthy's got. If they're going to sign anybody, they're going to sign somebody like a Jacoby Brissett. They're going to sign somebody that is just going to Band-Aid it. They don't want somebody they don't want J.J. McCarthy looking over his shoulder going, hey, if I screw up here comes Aaron. He's going to save the day. I think that's the biggest, but he is nothing but drama. He's, the last few years, it's all about drama. It's about me. And I don't know. I'm kind of befuddled about it.
Yeah, because I know the Giants are also talking to him as well.
Yeah.
They're trying to get him. I know Russell Wilson's going to go visit the Giants as well. I can see Russell signing with the Vikings, because it is a situation where we're not going to have to pay him much because of the Denver thing still ongoing.
Yeah, one more year. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's another one where if something happens with JJ, because as a Vikings fan, I want to see what JJ has, because if he doesn't have it, we need to move on, and we need to move on quick. Justin Jefferson is only young for so long.
Yeah.
He is a star. He may be arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. So we have to make sure a quarterback can get him the ball. We saw what Sam Darnold could do. Now can JJ do the same thing? So Russell Wilson comes in. If we sign him, that allows for, if in case JJ gets hurt or if it starts to struggle, we can still make a year out of the year. Because remember, the Bears got better. The Lions are still the Lions. Green Bay got better.
Yeah.
So if you struggle just a tad bit with a rookie quarterback, or technically a second year, but kind of a rookie quarterback, you're going to be last in the division. You're going to be the laughing stock. So I don't think Russell coming in. I do laugh at Aaron Rodgers. I can't remember the last time that someone was like, I want to go to Minnesota. I really cannot. I just sit back and I'm like, how many people have been like, I need out of Minnesota, not people wanting to go to Minnesota. I think Aaron Rodgers, if he still got it, and you think the way he played at the end of the year, maybe he does. I think he's our best shot for a Super Bowl this next year. So it's hard. Do you want to deal with all that drama? Do you want to deal with all that? But at the same time, do you want to win a Super Bowl? Do you want to compete in the NFC North? Why not just throw an offer out there? See how low he'll pay for it. He's made so much money. Throw it out there and see what he can do. But for me, the biggest surprise that hasn't been signed yet is either Stephon Diggs or Amari Cooper. Both are good wide receivers, not great anymore, but good wide receivers. Stephon Diggs is coming off an ACL injury, which is huge. But let's remember, these guys can still put up points. And Cooper Kupp is right there, too. He's going to be probably the first wide receiver off the table once he's officially released.
I thought he was released already. They released him on Tuesday. I thought they released him on Tuesday. I thought they released him Tuesday or yesterday. One of the 2 days.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was or not. I put technically because I knew that there was they can't trade him, which it sounds like Cooper Kupp kind of played his magic in this. He said that the Rams were going to trade him. So then it was harder to trade him. And so now he gets to make the decision on where he wants to go. I think that is a hell of a play right there. But, and who doesn't surprise me is not signed? Keenan Allen. Go look at his effort with the Chicago Bears last year and tell me you want him.
Yeah.
Because the Bears are also, that's why they're like, yo, see you later. We can't have that. There was a lot of effort plays that he missed out on, and we cannot have that going forward.
That wasn't good.
Well, let's wrap this up with, who do you think the biggest winner of this free agent / trading period has been so far?
It's got to be the Bears. I'm sorry. I mean, they went out. This is the first year that I can remember in a long time that they finally went out and spent the money. They didn't bankroll it. They didn't keep it back. They went out and got players. Now, don't get me wrong. These players, they're going to have to perform or it's a bust.
Yeah.
But I think they are the biggest winners right now. And they had to. They had to do it. I don't know. It's due to the I think they finally took the reins off Ryan Pace. And Ryan Pace knew he has to get O-line and D-line help.
Poles.
Playing both. Yes. Both.
No, Poles. Ryan Poles.
Ryan Poles. I'm sorry. Not Pace.
I said
Pace
the same thing on my own too.
Yes.
But Ryan Poles.
Yes. He had to go out and get that's how he played. Well, he played on the line. So he knew that he had to go out and get help on both sides of the ball. And that's where he's going to start. And that's where you've got to start in the NFL. You've got to start on that offensive line, getting help, running the ball, giving Williams enough time to throw the ball down the field.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the biggest winner for fans is the Bears. Yeah. Because everything the Bears have asked for as fans wise, they've got. They've got a dominant O-line, or not dominant, but a good O-line now. They went out and got a defensive player that is going to be the foundation of their defense. They went and got the coach that every Bear fan was asking for. Everything they've asked for, they've went and got. But can they be the best team in the division? I don't know. I don't know. I think when you talk about which other team has won, I know you're probably going to put them on the other side of it. But I think Pittsburgh does kind of come out pretty well with this. DK Metcalf, and then whatever's going to happen with this quarterback situation. If they get Aaron Rodgers, that changes the playing field, I feel like. They are a team that wants to run up front and then throw the ball. Jaylen Warren's not a bad running back, but running backs come 10 cents on a dollar, I feel like, these days. Right. Like, who else are you going to get in there? You have now a dominant wide receiver with DK, possibly George Pickens still, possibly, whether they keep it or not. You got Pat Freiermuth or whatever.
Freiermuth, yeah.
I think when you look at that was a hell of a trade. And the third team I'm throwing out there, just to throw out there as well, is Washington. Getting Debo and now making other moves, or getting Larry Tunsil, was huge to just say, hey, we want to compete against the Super Bowl champs of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, and they had to go out and make a splash because, like I said, they're one game away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I mean, all he needs is a little help on the offensive line, but other than that, I mean, they went out and got what they needed. Deebo Samuel, I mean, that if he could, and this all, we're talking about all this. If they all stay healthy, if they can all stay healthy, they're going to be a team to reckon with, and he's going to have a second year with the quarterback coach or the OC.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Yes. So now you got another year under him with the weapons that he's got and McLaurin and Samuel. All they really need is a good running back. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the running backs because they kind of faltered at the end. If they could get that, they'll give Philadelphia all they can handle.
And honestly, I think Austin Eckler showed up pretty well for them at the end, where it was Brian Robinson's team.
Yeah, right.
Brian Robinson's team in the beginning. I think Austin Eckler, if they can, just keep him going, again, another guy that can just stay healthy. Because we have to remember, this game that we love so much is so violent, right? Yeah. And everything that we talk about is, oh my gosh, it's so great as long as they stay healthy. One other thing I wanted to throw out there too that we didn't talk about was Bills quarterback. Why can I not think of his name?
Allen. Josh Allen.
Getting that huge contract. And there were stories that reportedly he would walk down the hallway of the GM and say, oh, did you hear that Trevor Lawrence signed that deal? Did you hear about this guy?
No. Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
Josh Allen is the future, the present, the past of Buffalo Bills. Yeah. He is the guy that everyone looks at. He is the idolized in Buffalo. He's a great guy on the field and great guy off the field. He deserves that money. He deserves what he got for that. So that was another one I forgot to write down, but that was a huge one for them.
Yeah, I think like I said, he was MVP. He deserves it. Now that he's getting all the pieces, can they all put it together? Because I tell you right now, if they don't put it together this year and they're not in the Super Bowl, they've got to make a coaching change.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They got to make a coaching change. Sean McDermott is not the guy. That's the only piece left that's holding that team back is the coaching.
I totally agree. I think it's do or die for this coach.
Yep.
And whether it's his fault or not his fault, it's
Yep.
just something has to change because nothing is producing yet for a Super Bowl win. And
I
it's got to have playoffs.
Yep.
Who's your biggest loser out of
You're
this?
gonna be surprised on this one. Maybe not. The Dallas Cowboys.
Really?
Again, this year, another failure. Nice job, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones. We're going to be selectively aggressive this year. The two words that Stephen Jones, you know who they picked up this year? Some Elam from Buffalo, a wide receiver, to help out Dak. Even Dak and CD restructured their contracts so they could go out and get somebody. And so far, that's what they've gotten so far, is that. You know why they probably restructured the contract? Because they're going to have to pay Parsons. But we were selectively going after players. That's your selective? That's what you're going to go under? Boy, oh boy. If I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm just shaking my head like, what are we doing, everybody? Wake up, old man.
Yeah. I honestly, I do like that. I didn't think about them because I saw Rico Dowd just signed as well today.
Oh, yeah, and then you lose that guy, too, on top of that.
Yeah. I do laugh at this because even they lost Dexter Lawrence, or
Yes.
the DN or whatever as well, too.
Yep.
The guy going to stay with them.
Yes.
They lost him as well. So it's one of these things where I didn't think about them when he said it, but I'm laughing because it is so true. Like what
it is.
We watch Washington do what they're doing to compete with the Eagles, and then we're watching the Cowboys do what they're doing, and like, are you ready to compete against the Eagles? I don't believe so. Like, I just don't believe you guys have put in the people to go and win that division. I just don't see how you can win it now. For my biggest loser has to be Seattle. And why I say that is because I get making room for Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold had one proven season based with a good offense and a great coach.
Yeah.
Now you have put all your trust into Sam Darnold. Let's not forget those days and the Jets. Let's not forget those days everywhere else, okay? Like, he was not good until this past year. Sam Darnold may not have the same type of season, most likely not going to have the same type of season, which the Vikings, I feel like, knew that as well. That he was not going to reproduce what he did this year again. So going into that, you go get rid of DK Metcalf. You go and get rid of Tyler Lockett. You go and get rid of these people to get in a quarterback that might not produce the way it did the year before. I don't understand. Maybe they're going young. Maybe that's the future for them. The other team that I have to throw out there that's the biggest loser, and it's because they've put all their money now into a quarterback as well, is the 49ers.
Yeah.
That defense now looks like Thanos after he snapped his fingers. This guy evaporating. This guy gone somewhere else. This guy.
Right.
And it was one of these things where you knew you're going to have to pay him. And I love Parsons' tweet. Welcome to the NFL. Because you guys have had this rookie deal for so long, and now you have to pay him, and look at how that team dismantled.
Right.
And the biggest person that I'm so sorry for is George Kittle, because I've seen that video like 100 times now since this whole thing has happened, where he's like, I'm coming back to the Super Bowl, and I'm coming with vengeance. And they lose the NFC Championship. They lose the NFC Championship. They can't make it to the Super Bowl again. And now that window is gone. It's gone. Right. That team that you recognize is gone. And you better hope Christian McCaffrey can come back, because if not, that's another bust that you got there, John Lynch.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying Seattle too, and I because here's the deal: Darnold went to Seattle. What division is Seattle in? They play the same team, the Rams.
Yeah.
Oh, did he not have some issues with the Rams this year? Played them twice and got beat twice handily.
Yeah.
So that's like. You need he's going to need all that, because the Rams, I think, has got his number. I really do. They did last year, and the 49ers, boy, they're falling. And this is what happens when you have to pay your quarterback.
Yep.
Like, you got to pay them $50-60 million. Dallas is finding out too. Another thing with Dallas too, if it wasn't for the Giants being in your division, you'd probably be the last place team.
Yeah.
because the Giants is the only one that's going to keep you out of the cellar. But if they go and get somebody and they start getting better, Dallas could be the cellar dweller for a while.
Yeah, I did see Stephen A. Smith's his rant today about the Giants and how bad they've ran things. Like, are we surprised? I guess that's why I was like they had Saquon, and obviously Saquon goes on, and that's a bad situation that happened. But who else has left the Giants that has now become this huge star? They just haven't drafted well. They haven't kept players that needed to stay. And the Daniel Jones situation, it was a 50-50. Do we keep Saquon, get rid of Daniel Jones, or do we keep Daniel Jones? Why would you not in the NFL keep a quarterback over a running back? Who was going to know that he was going to be able to run for 2,000 yards? Well,
right. And
Philadelphia did.
And Anthony, I don't know if he could have ran for 2,000 yards on that Giants offensive line. There's no way in hell he would have. No way. No way. That's because Philadelphia's offensive line is just dominant. So there's no way. It's just for an organization that has been good for a long time, and I think the GM and the coaches are on the hot seat too. If they don't perform this year, they may be gone.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I think that Hard Knocks is it's so bad.
Bit them in the ass.
Well, and it was so good. It was such a good Hard Knocks. I wish we would have more of them. But the fact that it was that team, that situation, and this outcome of this year, it'll never happen again with that GM situation, because I think it was so cool to see what these guys go through, because we know what the players go through with the Hard Knocks. But then seeing the GM and get attached to the family and stuff like that. I mean, I replay that clip where he asked his kids who should he draft.
Right.
Names. I mean, literally the two kids name people that are absolutely amazing.
Right.
And here they draft. And don't get me wrong, their wide receiver that I can't think of his name right now. The rookie, the wide receiver. What's his name?
Slayton?
No, the rookie.
Oh, Neighbors.
Yes, he's gonna be a stud. But can you keep him? Because now with how this situation's all shaken out, you're either getting Russell or you're getting Aaron Rodgers possibly. Aaron Rodgers definitely helps you. Russell Wilson, I think you're just going to have another mediocre season with a division that is ready to win another Super Bowl, whether it's going to be the Commanders.
Yeah. Woo. Yes.
So, but we do want to thank everyone. I know I apologize. We did not post one on Wednesday. All the technical difficulties. Hopefully we're getting this all figured out. But we want to appreciate everyone. We're on TikTok. We are on Facebook, all that. Next week, we'll start back with trivia, Mount Rushmore's, things that as well as it'll kind of die down again with the free agency. Hopefully some more bigger trades happen. That's always cool for us. But we want to thank everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you on Wednesday.